Hello, I'm Reverend Kenny Callahan, the pastor of Metropolitan Community Church of Richmond. The sacred text for this coming Sunday service is taken from Romans, the 5th chapter, verses 2 to 5. I've been thinking a lot about Paul's teaching, especially in light of the realities and circumstances that we are facing due to COVID. Recently, several people have shared with me their ongoing frustrations with all the changes that they are experiencing and also their ongoing fear of being infected with COVID, even though they are fully vaccinated. And I have a couple of thoughts that I would like to share with you. First, if you are feeling anxious or stressed or frightened over what seems like an unending list of circumstances beyond your control, not only are you not alone, this is a pretty normal set of responses to a pandemic. You are not somehow disappointing or failing others as you process and share your feelings and struggle. Rather, you are simply being honest and facing something that makes everyone vulnerable and being truthful about the dramatic and challenging nature of our shared circumstances. It might be helpful to remember that courage is not the absence of fear or vulnerability, but rather is the ability to persevere and work through the realities of fear and vulnerability. Can you think of an example of when courage did not involve vulnerability on some level? I believe that this is where hope and our faith can come into play as we do our best to confront the many challenges and ever-changing realities of this pandemic together, welcoming the fears, the concerns, the tears, and more as honest expressions of both the vulnerability and solidarity that we share together. And then second, in our sharing, we'll remind each other that God chooses to meet us precisely where we are, which includes our weakness and our vulnerability. I believe that God shows up in times and places in our lives when we least expect God, so that we know that God always loves us and always accepts every part of us, even the parts that we have a hard time accepting and loving ourselves. I think this is what Paul means by saying that afflictions can lead to perseverance, and perseverance to character, and character to hope. Because when you realize that God is with you and for you, and that God is always on your side, no matter what, then you find a way not simply to survive challenges, but to thrive in them. In fact, sometimes it's only when things are most difficult that we recognize God's presence and transforming love most powerfully in our lives. Thanks be to God.